Actually on 102.5 game, we've got Texas Vanderbilt pregame as we speak over on 94.9. Usually 9 to 11 prep football talk, and then at 10 to 11 one-on-one. And Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, how you doing, man? I was going to introduce you, and I just going to say, hi, how you doing, man?
Good morning, Greg. How we doing, man?
I don't need to introduce you.
Happy Saturday morning. You were
thanks for coming.
Talking about them Commodores, we may need to get, I know, how do you pronounce his last name? Pavia?
Yeah, Diego Pavia.
Pavia. Okay, we need to get him signed up in wrestling. He is charismatic like crazy. Now,
so we're going to have him wrestling.
I know he can run and gun.
He may be the quarterback for the Nashville Cats this spring.
That's good. Anyway, I appreciate you having me. And I got to see Coach there, and we connected.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about Charlie Anderson in a long time.
You just said of course, the legendary Stratford Aquinas won a national championship at Aquinas in basketball when it had a program, the JUCO pro. You played for him?
But my claim to fame is I left and they won a championship. I got into wrestling. I did. I just played 1 year, and I planned to go back for my sophomore year, but life took me in a different direction. In April of '86, I kicked off this career that I'm still doing almost 40 years later. But, seeing Coach and talking about Coach Anderson, and, man, I started reminiscing about the basketball days.
But this is, you're Nashville, right? We know what you've done, WWE Hall of Famer, all the different things you're doing now. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is your base.
Oh, bud, I born, raised here, grew up till I was about 12 or 13 on the south side of town, right over by anybody knows Harding Place in Trousdale, over by Overton High School, and kind of in that area, and then bounced around to a couple of different schools. I didn't leave. They asked me to leave, but no, I went to high school and finished at Good Pasture and played basketball. Really was my first true love. I grew up around the wrestling business. My dad, obviously promoted. My grandmother. We're all Nashvillians. My dad, West High, way back in the day. My grandmother, born and raised here, and she took a second job on 4th Avenue in 1946, Greg, and walked into a shoe store, and the owner said, can I help you? And she said, I saw your sign out there. And what are those signs? Well, one was Help Wanted, and the other one was wrestling tickets for sale. So that's how she took her first job, selling wrestling tickets.
That's where I'm headed,
in 1946.
It
all started in 1946,
Nick
so it's kind of amazing. Oh, yeah.
Your grandmother... your grandmother.
Yeah.
Jerry's mom.
That's right.
Your dad.
Christine.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and what we would call a CFO today, that's, she worked her way up in the back office, starting selling tickets, and obviously, there's some, I looked at her as my, really one of my first, she was my first business mentor, but she was my grandmother as well. But, man, she had I'll say a ladylike mean streak in her, because I've heard all the different stories, but she did. It's one of the things that when I look back on it, especially where I'm at in my career now, and just kind of look at it and know that she made it, and candidly in those days, a man's world, in the 50s and 60s, and rose up through the ranks. And then she actually started promoting her own shows, which, Greg, there's so many. I could talk for hours on kind of the history of it. She was a promoter but didn't have a license. So she had her different workers that would drive her from town to town, and she promoted any small town from about 90 miles north of Louisville to about, the 7-state area around Nashville. So she came up the hard way, but promoted shows. And my dad, in his high school days, he promoted shows, and then he wrestled for about 8 or 10 years and then got back into promoting. So, Greg, I will ramble on too much.
But no, apparently, no, you didn't have a choice.
Well, I did.
I know that. I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just the bloodline.
Yeah, and I'm one of 5 kids. So the other 4, never really looked into this. And I made it a career out of it. I like to say that I got bit by the wrestling bug early. I would go out to on Channel 2, the studios up on the hill, and they had studio wrestling there. That's when I'm a really young kid. And then, obviously, my teenage years, I can remember sitting on the couch watching Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman, and just being mesmerized by that, and just we could go on and on. But, the heyday before cable television came along, boy, we're really dating ourselves. But, the territories, as we call it.
It was Sunday night on Channel 2, right? At 10.
It bounced around. It was Saturday night at 10:30. It was Sunday night sometimes, but for years and years and years, it was on Saturday mornings. It was kind of the counter programming, and our home base as a promotion was down in Memphis, and we were on the NBC affiliate, and there was 2 general managers, 3 actually through the years that came along. They always looked at it and said, I'm going to look at wrestling ratings, and it destroyed every cartoon, every other kind of time buy. It just got monster rating after monster rating, and we were on in Memphis live every Saturday morning from 10 to 11:30 for years.
Jeff Jarrett, 101 with Greg Pogue at Roy's Meat Surface. All this brought to you by Freeman Webb. Nick Goulas, Roy Welch, and I grew up watching it. Being in Bowling Green, you get the TV stations.
Oh, yeah.
The Nashville stations. And Tojo Yamamoto, Jackie Fargo, Lynn Rossi, Oni Wiki, Bearcat Brown.
Look at you name dropping.
Saul Weindroff. I mean, that the glory years, if you will. But could you ever foresee the explosion of it?
I did.
Because it was regional in a lot of ways, correct?
Oh, no, it was. Back, well, like I said, back before cable television, we'll just call North America was divided up into 22 areas, territories, if you will. All the promoters more or less worked on a handshake agreement. And so my dad's promotion, and prior to that, was Goulas Welch. But, it was Nashville, Louisville, Evansville, Chattanooga, Birmingham, Memphis. Those were kind of the major stops, but the country was divided up that way, and I'm impressed, Greg. You threw Oni Wiki out there.
Oni Wiki.
There's a few different.
Hey, I didn't want the Bearcat Brown, that headbutt.
There you go.
I mean, I didn't want to. Yeah.
But wrestling is one of those things, and I like to. I'm in the baseball business now, and baseball can be a 3-generation. You can see a grandfather and a grandson walk through, and last night that game, it's a World Series game, what drama and all that. But there's an emotional connection to sports. But professional wrestling is one of those really unique forms of entertainment. That's what we are. Is that I can't tell you how many stories through the years that you hear. I grew up. My grandmother, not grandfather, my grandmother on Saturday mornings when she was babysitting me, I was at her house. We would, turn on the TV on Saturday mornings, and you didn't talk. Grandma would smack me if you talked during wrestling. But it's that emotional connection as a young child. Why
is it? Because there's that now. Where's the connection? Because the storylines and you said it's entertainment.
Yep.
But where's the gravitation?
Well, I mean, boy, this kind of gets into the psychological, but I think it's a lot of times the world maybe overthinks it. But, basketball, hockey, football, there's sometimes, I'll say this, there's strategy, and it's very it's not for everybody. Professional wrestling is good versus evil. There's black hats and white hats, and good and bad and simple, but we can all kind of live vicariously. And look, we're on TV. We don't have a season. We're 52 weeks a year. I've been in people's homes, especially in Nashville, for 40 years. And there's just something about that. You could, outside of Tom Brady and 4 or 5 others, a great football player could walk through the door right now, and me and you are sports junkies, and we may not know who it is because we don't see them with the helmets, and the same kind of with baseball and caps. But you have an emotional connection to professional wrestling because you see them, you live vicariously through it. We could come up with 4 or 5 different storylines. Hulkamania in the 80s or in the 90s, Stone Cold, it was the employee versus employer. It's very, very relatable in a lot of ways, but it's also kind of amped up. And my grandmother used to say, Greg, who watches professional wrestling? And her nickname was Teeny. We'd say, who's that, Teeny? She said, just the masses. Just the masses. Everybody watches it. And, you look at it now. I mean, we're on the ESPN affiliate. ESPN signed not $1 million, but $1 billion deal with WWE for professional wrestling. So it is a monster business these days.
Jeff Jarrett with us, hanging out here at Roy's Meat Service in East Nashville, already eyeing the meat case.
You're darn right I am.
I think
the wife,
the mama boss, said,
if you're leaving me with this crew up here working on a Saturday morning, you better bring back some groceries.
But
no.
And you just had a big event up in Hendersonville Thursday, homecoming.
Amazing.
I know they had the what was it, the Pig Fest?
It was.
You know who provided all the pork for that? Did I tell you this?
Oh boy!
Every one of those pork shoulders.
Get out of here.
right here.
No way.
There were like 50 something
55
teams.
55
teams.
Something.
Every one of them got the pork shoulder from right here because they all have to have the same product to
Small
do.
world.
Right here, Roy.
Well,
Roy's
if I'd
Beef
have known
Service.
that about Roy, and I said, hey, there's a reason I came down. But no, what an event it was. You know, my dad, he was always very against running a professional wrestling show in his hometown. That was our hometown.
Yeah.
He just said, hey, man, you're not going to please everybody. But Pig Fest was for 4 nonprofits, an incredible community event. And we kicked it off with wrestling last Thursday, the first time I'd ever wrestled in my hometown. It was really, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Friday, the Oak Ridge Boys performed, and then Saturday was Pig Fest, the barbecue cooking contest, and I went up for the award show. He's really but man, I didn't know Roy's supplied the meat, man. There was a lot of good food up there.
The TSU, they for the 38 years have the homecoming fish fry the Friday before the game. Guess where they got 1,500 pounds of whiting fish?
Get out of here.
From right here.
Roy's is iconic place.
It
Good.
is.
That's very cool.
These guys rock it. Anyway, they do all of our cats catering for our training camp and our team with us. Jeff Jarrett with us. I want to I don't want to bury the lead right now. AEW, give me that world. Bring me the breakdown.
It's kind of an amazing opportunity. Mm-hmm. We're on a sports station. So Shad Khan, owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Fulham Premier Club team, his son Tony decided that he wanted to start a professional wrestling company. He did a little over 6 years ago. We're 2 hours. It's the ascension of the brand is. It is a time we'll go back and tell just how it was a meteoric rise. We're on 2 hours on TBS on Wednesday night, 2 hours on Saturday night. About every 5 to 6 weeks, we have a pay-per-view. We're up in Newark, New Jersey, coming up in about 2 weeks. But we're coming right here to the Pinnacle the night before Thanksgiving, and we'll tie our two subjects together, AEW, but also the tradition of Nashville wrestling. I've wrestled in Nashville many a time on Thanksgiving Day, but we're having an event the night before at the Pinnacle, new venue. It's going to be a first for me, so very, very excited. You can get your tickets at AEWTix.com. But yeah, it's a very, very cool event. But AEW, it is the alternative brand to WWE. But man, oh man, it's
kicking it, isn't it?
Blowing and going. Yes.
What is your role? You're director of business development.
I do a little bit. I'm. Actually,
is there a title in there?
Yeah, business development.
Okay.
But I do a little bit of everything: live events, marketing. I do quite a bit of PR, like I'm doing now. Kind of a brand ambassador, but I'm actually on the roster as well. So I'm not a full-time guy like I used to be and shouldn't be. But I still throw on the boots every now and then and step in the ring.
So you obviously have to. That's. You just don't want.
You're shaking your head at me.
You need protein.
That's right.
You need some protein.
I was up early this morning working out.
But you are still doing it, right?
Oh, yeah. To tie it back in here locally, I started TNA Wrestling in 2002, and I now joke about this. One of the reasons I started it, yes, I'm a third-generation promoter. It's really what I love to do. I had my WWF career and WCW career and started a brand and didn't want to step out of the ring. But one of the reasons, I knew there was going to come a day that sooner rather than later, step out of the ring. I never dreamed at 58 I'd be on a full-time roster for AEW Wrestling. So I joke that I started TNA, and one of the reasons was to get out of the ring. And here I am still wrestling. But during the pandemic, I'll say this, I got sick and was laying in my bed and said, I am going to get out of this bed soon, and I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. And kind of, Greg, it's just God has stepped in so many times in my life. I can't praise him enough. But one thing led to another, and we did the event with Ric Flair's last match. Rick got the itch.
At Municipal Auditorium.
Municipal, sold-out crowd. It was the biggest independent wrestling show, they say, in history. It was just a phenomenal deal. But that all just kind of laid out, and Rick wanted to do it one more time, and it just kind of fit. We had Mike Keith down there doing the press conference and government officials, and it was really a cool event. But got to do that, and then that kind of put me back on the radar in essence that, oh, man, man, Jeff still, they said, hey, man, he's got a lot more gas in the tank than we thought. And so, long story short, I was signed to a contract and doing some business development and doing a few other things. But AEW it's truly an amazing success story.
You're weak, though. I mean, you tell me, okay, you just thinking, we've talked here the past couple of weeks about something. You fly out on Monday, come back. Give me your week.
So the Dynamite is on Wednesday night.
Right.
And it's the flagship show, and it travels around really the country. We're going over to the UK, so it's a global show. But I'll usually leave on Tuesday night, show on Wednesday, come home on Thursday. But I'm involved. Golden Rule Entertainment, we have 2, soon to be 4 collegiate baseball teams up in, and we would just continue to grow up in Illinois. I'm in the baseball business. Acclaim Video Games just did a relaunch, if you will. I sat on their board, so I'm in the gaming business. I'm in the baseball business, obviously in the wrestling business, and I do a podcast. We record, and the new episode drops every Tuesday. Been doing that about 5 years. Man, that's a whole nother story. I told my partner, Conrad Thompson, he'd asked me for about over 3 years he wanted me to do it. I told him no. I said, nobody wants to hear me talk about wrestling stories, and it's been a blessing. So get to talk current, get to talk past, and do that. But My World with Jeff Jarrett drops every Tuesday as well.
Yeah. Well, outside of that, what are you doing?
Wife, 5 kids. I love, like I said, I love to train. But life is good. It's busy. Like to stay actively involved in the recovery community, and obviously I'm a member of Long Hollow, and can't say enough. Shout out Pastor Robbie Gallaty. It just some amazing things are going on at Long Hollow that boy oh boy I could spend the whole hour on that. But no, life is good. Life is a bit busy, but I feel very blessed to get to do what I do day in and day out.
All right, we'll take a break. He's with us till the top of the hour. Jeff Jarrett, 101 with Greg Pogue, right here on 102.5 The Game. It's 101 with Greg Pogue, presented by Freeman Webb, Roy's Meat Service. Every Saturday morning, we're over on 94.9, Prep Football Talk from 9 until 10 with Coach Bubba Spears, and then I do my one-on-one show here. We're over here today on 102.5. Vanderbilt, Texas is over on 94.9. We got Predators here at 1:30 this afternoon. Jeff Jarrett's hanging out here. We've got Darren Arbett. You've just met the Nashville Cats general manager and head coach. TSU AD Nick Guerrero. Dane, the biggest buddy of mine, and then Katrina Giles here runs this place.
Oh boy,
she's the boss.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
She's the one that's going to. She's the one that's going to pat you down for the wagyu you got in your pants. Excuse me.
Easy now. Easy now. It's Saturday morning.
Well, I know, and it sounded good, but I knew as soon as it came out, I wanted to put it right back in.
That's all right.
That's okay.
But she is the boss.
Yes, your boss. Karen.
Oh, boy.
I mean, of course, a star in her own right.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, her ex, and now you guys have been married, 15 years?
15 years.
15 years.
Time flies. Got that girl from Pittsburgh down here, but, her it's a huge blessing in my life. You know, a lot of people listening may or may not, but they probably know my first wife, East Nashville girl. Mm-hmm. And so Karen even likes to say that, Jeff, you're the luckiest son of a gun in the world. You didn't get just one good wife, you got 2 great wives.
Yeah.
So I like to. Jill was Stratford, and I've connected with some Stratford folks around here this morning. But yes, Karen, her parents moved down, her grandparents moved down. What a blessing she's been for my life. Entering it during a time that was candidly, it was tough running a business, 3 girls, and Cupid got us both, and man, again, just a blessing. But what a star. She was there last Thursday night. She was performing, and she likes to say sometimes she doesn't always like to do it, but she's a natural. Both of us are probably better, we'll call it villains, but we were fan favorites in our hometown last week.
You better be. But having her be in the business,
yep.
Does that make it easier for you guys? Because she understands the demands that are placed upon you.
Well, it's ups and downs because, the travel sometimes can be grinding, especially when the kids were home. Now, the kids now are 28 to 18, and so it is it's a different set of circumstances, if you will. But the travel can be taxing. without question on both of us. But again, there's an upside and a downside to that as well. But she's very good at what she does. She's a natural. I've told people many a time that, yes, I'm biased, but the business came easier to her than anybody I've ever seen. It really did. But, yeah, it can be a blessing and a curse because of the travel, but we work it out.
Well, and she's – I don't know. She's easy on the eyes.
Okay, I agree.
Let you, I don't know if you noticed that. Most people, a lot of people have. She's
Greg. All good, but no.
Yeah, the thing that intrigues me, and we know the legacy and where you are, the WWE Hall of Fame, and all the different storylines that you've gone through over the years. But mine, do you ever look at your Wikipedia page?
Oh, but look, if it's on the internet, it has to be true.
It is definitely. This one is trained by Tojo Yamamoto.
There you go.
And oh my gosh, I wanted one of those wooden clogs,
shoes,
the wooden shoes that he wore. What an icon of this city is Tojo Yamamoto.
Well, it goes back to just kind of the time frame, if you will, and Tojo.
What was he like?
Very unique. One of the most unique characters in the world. When it says trained, that was, like he didn't get in the ring with me and show me any moves. But we had many a long drive, and he would talk and be repetitive like a coach on certain kind of basics of the human psychology and I'll call it kind of tricks of the trade, and just how we talked earlier in the hour about connecting emotionally, and that really is what our business is all about. I say that sports as well. We're emotionally connected to the Titans. Sometimes that's a four-letter word right now, but we're emotionally connected to the Preds or the Commodores because that's our team, and that wrestling is just that. You either hate or love to hate or love, one of those things, but there's strong human emotions, and Tojo, I believe, he's one of the brilliant minds in the 60s, if you will, and obviously carried into the 70s. He literally taught my dad the psychology of the
foundation
business.
of the
He was a very people don't say you would never connect. Hey, give me one word to describe Tojo. You wouldn't really say brilliant, but he was very, very smart in the wrestling industry. So he taught me psychology, taught me a lot of that. My dad and a guy here who's now locally, but originally from Paducah, Tony Falk, who had my first match. A couple of different guys got up in the ring with me, but, I refereed during the summers for a couple of years before I got in the business. And like I said, I was playing college basketball, and little did Charlie Anderson know, Coach Anderson knowing, that I was moonlighting 2 weeks before the final tournament doing a storyline down in Memphis. But I got into the business literally in April, right after the basketball season, and so started wrestling and on-the-job training in a lot of ways. But I know I'm blessed because I've watched so much wrestling even before I got in. I loved it. So when I got in, it was I'd done a lot of mental practice in my brain.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett with us here. Lynn Rossi, another one. I mean, I've got these tumbles going in my brain right now.
One of the OGs in health foods.
Yeah,
he was
very successful in the health world, right?
Yes, yeah. And he thought about it. I mean, way before his time. So there was, the Nashville area was a home base. Not just my father and Tojo, but fabulous Jackie Fargo made his home here for a lot of years, and Fargo, a legendary performer.
I've got it.
And a lot of people think, superstar Billy Graham, there's Dusty Rhodes, there's a lot of people that you can almost, Coach, Greg, I'll give you, like when you hear about coaching trees, like this guy, and look at all his Saban's coaching tree, or whatever it may be. The model that Jackie Fargo did, not in the 70s through the 60s, still exists today. There's Hulk Hogan. I could go through a list of performers that took a little bit of Jackie, and he was here. And that to me, he was my childhood idol, if you will. I love the King, and he was my dad's business partner. But my original fandom goes all the way back to the fabulous Jackie Fargo.
I can do the Jackie Fargo.
Can you do the strut? Okay. You got the move. Greg, we may have to strut one day.
Sometimes I get stuck in one of those.
Yeah, there you go.
But the Jackie Fargo strut was And in the row, I mean, he at that moment, and you just said it, and you got me thinking about this. The elevation of it even more because of the show, the entertainment component of it. There was the component of what was going on in the ring, the good versus the evil, as you mentioned it. But in my mind, that was sort of the start of the superstar wrestler. Does that make sense?
Well, and a lot of and a lot of times Vince McMahon came along, because of taxes and sports commissions, and he changed the vernacular, and he said, "I don't want to use the word professional wrestling. I'm going to call it sports entertainment," which is very, very accurate. A lot of old school folks don't like that, but look, Jackie Fargo was entertaining in the 50s, and Gorgeous George. Wrestling has always been that hybrid. It's that niche. It's where from TV programmers to fans, I don't want to watch that stuff, and you know what, the ratings tell different. Because it's always been that unique form of entertainment.
No. Is there ever been a storyline that you didn't like, that you wish that you didn't?
I can tell you, like ball players, I'm my own worst critic.
Right.
And the storylines that I didn't like that I was personally involved in, sure. That I watched on TV or as a part of a promotion, sure. Because it's a difficult business, because you can't please everybody. You got to please the masses. And so I understand and was taught this from my grandmother. You're going to do storylines that not everybody's going to like, and you're going to have to grow some thick skin and realize when the consumer walks through the door, the fan walks through the door, is that make sure you have something they really like, because they're going to pick out 3 or 4 things they don't. That's the nature of a wrestling fan.
Yeah, and we talked to Darren Arbed. This guy's a Hall of Famer, the winningest coach in the Arena League. And when I mentioned you, the tumble was, and I don't want to put words in my mouth, you were the villain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and of course, we know the entertainment component of it, but that's the connection,
sure.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. And that was something that, especially when I broke in, the 80s, the talent was much bigger. Hulk Hogan was, 6'4", 6'5". I'd like to say he's 6'7", but he's 6'4", 6'5", but he was 270, 280, and there was a lot of other guys that were really big. When I broke in, wringing wet off the basketball court, I was 180 and, got up to 200 and all that. But my role was much better making guys look great. That type role, but that's the niche that I really carved out through the years, and feel like it served me well.
I like dealing in superlatives. Your favorite moment in the ring? Do you have one that just pops out there?
Oh boy, you'd have to go down to matches or sets, but the first time, like, people say, "Why'd you get in the wrestling business?" I think every kid that puts on a pair of boots, or laces up a basketball shoes, they want to hit the game-winning shot. And a championship. Well, every wrestler, I believe, grows up and says, "I want to be the world champion." When I won the world championship for the first time, it's the belt I grew up watching in the lineage, the big gold belt. Anybody from Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race, Ric Flair, on and on and on. I won it, and I'm a basketball guy, but I won it in April of 2000 in the United Center, Michael's house. So becoming the world champion the first time in 2000 was a monster day for me. When I look back on it, just kind of how it all fell into place. So that's special. And then you get on the entertainment side. I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't enjoy cracking Gary Coleman or Fabulous Moolah or Beetlejuice or a number of other folks with the guitar, because
where did that start? The guitar, obviously the Nashville connection.
The Nashville, it was all the Nashville connection.
How did that organically?
Me and Vince sat down in 1993, and I was, we'll call it the good guy, the boy next door here in this region, and so going on a national stage, he looked at my name. And he just said, "That's a very peculiar name." And nobody had said my name was peculiar, but he looked at it. He said, "You got 2 F's, you got 2 J's, you got 2 R's, you got 2 T's. There's double there." And it just, the country music, because he said, "What are your likes and dislikes?" I grew up absolutely loving music, and obviously from Nashville and country music, and whether it's Toby Keith or John Rich or a number of other folks I've become buddies with through the years, but it just kind of fit. Being from Nashville and the guitar, it just fit. And then once they kind of figured out, and I figured out I can swing a pretty mean guitar, it all worked out.
All those guitar makers probably didn't like you, right?
Well, I know one thing, sponsorships, there's 3 or 4 times we've gotten people to about close the door on doing a sponsorship deal, and they're like, do you ever not break one? I said, well, that's not really the MO.
Yeah,
well, we don't want our guitars smashed. So I got to find the right guitar brand that understands.
So Gibson out there is that, yeah, they don't.
They passed.
Yeah.
Twice.
Oh, yeah.
Twice.
Yeah, and we could probably a few more. One-on-one with Greg Pogue, presented by Freeman Webb. We're at Roy's Meat Service in East Nashville. We're a few minutes away from Jeff Jarrett walking out of here with a couple prime ribeyes for the grill tonight.
Exactly.
You
Vols, Oklahoma, they got a game. I'm going to talk to Coach here and see what he thinks about it. Is Texas?
Who are you a fan of?
You know what? I'll say it right now. We're in Nashville, but I grew up. You remember Alan Duncan? You're old enough to remember that place kicker from the Vols?
Yep.
I was probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years of age. Ran on the field after a game and ran up to him, and he had his kicking tee in his helmet. And as a little kid, I figured out I got a little salesmanship in me, and I said, "Hey, man, can I have that?" I think he was shocked and so bold. I didn't ask for a sweatband. I wanted the kicking tee. He gave it to me. But anyway, I'm a Vol fan. Always been. Look, I love the basketball program.
We got the big pumpkin over here, Dane, and
Big Orange, from East Nashville here. We lost our baseball coach, but I think we're going to be okay. But no, I'm a Vol. My little brother and sister both went there, and so I'm a Vol guy. And we got a big game tonight. So anyway, I'm a Vol.
Yeah,
through and through.
So no East Nashville Vandy hangover there.
And I'll just say this: as a kid, and look, I'm tickled to death to where they're at right now in the stadium and everything. I will say this: my mom used to take me to. We used to set up in 3. What was that up in the corner? But I was a Vandy basketball back at Mike Rhodes days and the F Troop. I'm dating myself, but the F Troop, and then the 80s and Phil Cox,
Ford, Fosness, Fear.
Yeah,
look at you.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah. I was a Vandy basketball. I loved to go to those games. It was that gym's so unique, and I went to the camps out there and loved it all. But Phil Cox, when he came on the scene, hit 30 his first game. He was very impressionable on me. But anyway, I love.
But you're a basketball guy, though,
I love, and I still follow to this day. Crazy, my youngest daughter, plays at Berry College D3 down in Rome, and her season's about to kick off. So I get to.
There's a few trips.
I love it. Yeah, I do. I love it. I love watching it. I love competing. I try to tell when I do different seminars or whatever it may be. When I speak to a group of kids, I tell them, look, you don't have to be an all-star. You don't have to do anything, and you don't even have to do a sport that's physically, but figure out a way to compete every day. Because it just teaches you the lessons in life. I am such I'll get on my soapbox for a minute. But Greg, I just, we're on a sports talk radio, but I believe the mindset of competing, yes, it's about winning or losing, but it's really not. It's really about happiness. If you get up and look, I'm not saying you have to win every day, but if you get in the game and compete and don't let life get you by, just kind of pass you by, it's something that has paid so much dividends in my life. And so I try to, drive my family crazy sometimes, but I do. I try to attack every day and truly win the day because it is so fulfilling.
How do you turn it off? Do you?
That I'll be real candid here. Counseling, therapy, different folks through the years. I had I'll call it a producer buddy of mine, a laid-back Texan who I worked hand-in-hand with for years. He would pull me aside many times, and he would look me in the eye and say, take a breath, take a breath, and then we would get into deep thought. And he's like, hey, man, you need to turn it off sometimes. You're going to run yourself out. And so it is a conscious effort. I'm not good at it. I'll be very, very candid and open about it. I'm not really good at it, but I guess it's how I'm wired. It's how I'm wired.
I would assume, though, to not put words in your mouth, that's where family comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as a diversion. Maybe. Here, look here, the shrink of me. Maybe what your work is a diversion, and the family's the base.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that again, I've kind of have to learn through the years that not everybody thinks like me. Praise God, but I've had to teach myself that with relationships, wife, kids, is that they've got their own path and their own journey, and I've got mine, and we just need to keep on keeping on and have a little acceptance in our lives. Gives us peace.
What's next?
Boy, you tell me. I am. You know what? I mean, the AEW, as far as the promoter brain in me, but there is a lot of cool things going on. Off of last week's show, the Jeff Jarrett All-Star Super Slam, I had some folks out there that I didn't know were there, but they called me and said, I've heard you talking about your 40th year and kind of figuring out, I'm not going to be one of those guys and saying it's from my retirement match. Wrestlers never retire. It's BS if you say they do. But, celebrating my 40th year. So we're looking forward to next year on how we're going to celebrate that. So that and among other things, we got a pretty cool announcement in my baseball world coming up, and I'm going to be I'll tell you this offline, but I can't announce it publicly, but we've got it coming in the month of, it's November 1st. 3 weeks we've got a big announcement up in Illinois it'll be national news. So I got a lot on my plate, as you know. Thanks
for coming by, man.
I appreciate it, my man. I appreciate it. Get out of here with some nice steaks.
Oh yeah, we're gonna hook you up here.
Yeah. So it's the old adage: don't ask permission, beg for forgiveness. When I left the folks up in Hendersonville this morning, but if I come back with some steaks,
there you go,
buddy.
Thank you.
Solution. Thank you, sir.
All right. Jeff Jarrett has been our guest. We're going to wrap it up here. Hey, coming up at 1:30 this afternoon, pregame, face-off at 2:30. Preds, if you want to pop over on the 94.9, Vanderbilt, Texas, about ready to kick off down in Austin. Thank you for listening, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend.